Guess who's back? Still smell all my clothes, you know what I mean? Had to change my clothes. Had to take a shower and get ready for the day. But before I left out the house, start my little errand run, I noticed Kanye dropped his interview with Charlamagne the God, man. Almost 2 hours long. And this is going to be another conversation piece because I feel like this whole Ye saga is turning into a soap opera. You feel me? And I kind of gained a different perspective off of this interview. If you haven't seen it, I suggest you go watch it. It's called Kanye West / Charlamagne interview. Now, let's just start it off. They covered a lot of things in this interview, and I'm gonna keep it a stack. I haven't really gotten into the Trump parts yet because I feel like we've gotten enough Trump rhetoric from Kanye. I feel like all those songs and movements leading up to this have been about his feelings about Trump, and I don't think anything is really gonna change. But here's what I'm saying. Here's what I did learn. First thing, when Kanye was going on his... Well, first thing is I saw the extent of Kanye West's mental health issues. And I think something that people really didn't consider when Kanye is going crazy and doing all this stuff is it's a real damaged dude, man. He's damaged. He's hurt. Now, take this perspective for a second. Kanye West came out, and when he came out, to me, he was like, his whole gimmick, not gimmick, but his thing was like, I'm the fresh, cool mama's boy, right? Like where he would say it in his songs. His mom was the most important person in his life, and she was like, because his dad wasn't around, she was like the only person he had, to trust. And then when Kanye West's mom passes, and the way she passed because of a botched surgery, it really puts into perspective like how destroyed this man must really be. Who does he turn to talk to? It's not Jay. I've never thought Kanye and Jay were that close. Honestly, I know that it's branded that way and it helps. But if you know the Kanye West story, Jay wasn't the one who stuck his neck out for him. Dame was. Dame was the one who made Jay respect Kanye. And I've even heard other stories like, I don't know if you know who Torre is. He's a famous interviewer, and he was talking about a story about how JayZ couldn't wait to roast Kanye or some stuff like that. I don't know, because I'm one of the biggest JayZ fans I know, and somebody like JayZ's personality will not mesh well with Kanye, honestly. He just seems a little bit more calculated and a little bit more incognito sometimes with his moves. You know what I mean? So they're polar opposite people. I can't really see Kanye being able to open up to him. And then he said something in this interview when he said his mom passed and he's in Hollywood by himself and he doesn't trust anybody. You know what that really made me realize? I don't think he trusts Kim either. I don't think he trusts, for how unaware we think Kanye is, for how like loose at the hip he is and just fires off whatever he's thinking. I think he's a little bit more self-aware than we give him credit. I think he knows what his situation with Kim looks like. I think he knows what it may potentially turn out to be. And I think he knows that there isn't a point in time when they hit the white picket fence and live happily ever after, because he lives in Hollywood and she's a socialite. That's one thing I learned, that's one of the things I learned, is that Kanye is really by himself, alone. He only had one person that he could open up to, and she's gone. And how she went was so tragic that it's like, that is something that can really turn somebody insane. And another thing I got from this, even though Kanye tried to word it like him and Jay are cool, him and Jay are fam, I think they just reaffirmed my belief on how JayZ and Kanye West's relationship is. Because Kanye made a good point, you know, like, and you could tell he's not trying to offend JayZ in any way, but he made a great point when he said, well, JayZ on all these interviews says that he's my little brother, we're family, this, that, and the third, but he didn't come to my wedding. And Kanye also put out that, you know, him and JayZ and Beyonce were going through something, maybe that's why I didn't show up, but at the end of the day, if you consider somebody family, you call this person your little brother? You telling me you wouldn't show up to his wedding? Kanye West said, he said, you don't miss weddings. You tough it out and you go through it. You know what I mean? How long could it possibly be that you need to be there? Or maybe Beyonce doesn't show up. And Jay, I think it's a little bit more Jay's obligation to be there. But I don't think he likes Kim. I think it goes way further than him and Beyonce going through it, because I'm pretty sure him and Beyonce are going through it for a while and we're still doing public stuff together. And you're telling me that wasn't something you're gonna do? It's a little weird to me, Jay. I think you messed up on that point. But honestly, I don't think the only reason why I think Jay is messing up is because he alludes to the fact that the relationship is deep. But there's certain things you do that just makes it where you can't have that stance. Like, that's the whole have my cake and eat it too stuff. You can't call somebody your family or your brother and then you miss their wedding. Purposely. You knew when it was. You were invited, clearly. You just didn't show up. That's bad optics. Another great point that was brought up on this that Charlamagne said is that a lot of your rants and a lot of your things are like what you did are making a little bit more sense now because you were doing it out of fear. Kanye West said when you're working out of love, the universe will help you. If you're working out of fear, you're going against the universe. His metaphor was the drop of water in the ocean. If you're working in love, you a drop of water in the ocean, you got the whole ocean to help you. If not, you basically battling a tidal wave by yourself. I don't know if I fully agree with that. Because there's been a lot of people who were not operating through love. And if you really want to believe the universe helps you, then you kind of have to agree that, because you can't believe Hitler, for instance. Let me just bring up, you can't believe he was able to galvanize an entire nation, create an army, start conquering other nations, and almost wipe out an entire race of people. You can't just say he did that on his own. If you believe the universe moves things around and helps people in certain situations, then you have to agree that the universe helped him do that, right? Because if the universe was against him, it would not have happened. You can't just be like, well, it ended. Everything ends. The ability for it to happen would have to be if the universe is helping you do certain things, right? Get to your point or your goal. See, that's why I don't fully agree with that. That's kind of a weird statement. And then another thing he said was, I didn't write any notes. I'm just kind of sporadically letting it off. Another thing he said was the level in which Kim getting robbed messed him up. Now, what I will say is, whoever ran up on Kanye West during his set and told that to him during his set, you kind of a jerk for that. Of course, you tell him, right? But whether you tell him there at that moment or 45 minutes later at the end of his set, that didn't change anything, right? The only thing that it did change was Kanye canceled the show, mid-show, left, and that messed up optics. The visuals looked bad. People started attacking him because of that, because they didn't fully understand what was going on. So, I don't know. Though it's not up to us, we don't need an explanation on something like that. You deserve it to go out whenever you want to go out. That's you. Honestly, what I think my biggest takeaway from this interview is, And it really sounds obvious, but sometimes those are the best breakthroughs. By the way, I liked it when he said, I didn't have a breakdown, I had breakthroughs. I understood that. And he also said, which I agree with him, that the industry has kind of taken the foot off of his radio presence ever since the Taylor Swift thing. Now think about that for a second. Because I was like, Kanye has difficulty getting on the radio. Then I thought about it. So yeah, that timeline makes kind of sense. Because you can't even say, well, he's not making radio records. Jesus Walks was not a radio record. He says on the song, the radio won't play. They say you can rap about anything except for Jesus. That means guns, like lies, videotapes. But if I rap about God, my records won't get played, huh? Yeah, he's never really worried about making a radio record. You know what I mean? I think Gold Digger is his closest one. But even then, that's mad Kanye. You know what I mean? I advise everybody to go watch this interview right now. And I need you to tell me, what do you feel about this? Did this enlighten you more on Kanye's plight? Or are you in the same position you were before it? I don't know. Put in the comment section below. Make sure you put that hashtag SFJNation. Because if you didn't, did you really even leave a comment? Huh? My name is Scru. I'm pretty freaking awesome, but I wouldn't be nothing without you, the SFJ Nation. Go check out my new single, The Tunnel Walk Remix, on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, wherever you get your music. Just type in SCRUFACEJEAN. You dig. Face.